everyone. Good morning. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET now. I'm Mubina Kapasi and markets looking okay. We have, of course, come off quite a bit from the day's high. We're down 0.4%. So, yes, we're trying to revert back, I suppose, to the levels with which we opened at yesterday. For now, let's talk about, of course, the big movers and shakers today in trade and what's keeping the markets busy, as we always do on Market Fatafat. We have with us today on the show on the technicals, Hemain Kapari of KR Choksi Securities, Kunal Bothra and Soumya Sharma, as always, join in as well on the show. Thanks to all of you for joining in, and let's kickstart by talking about Tata Motors. Yes, we have the June auto sale numbers that are continue to trickle in. Okay set of numbers, really a mixed bag actually, if you could call it that. We do have the CV sale number that has come in at a little over 35,700 and the PV sale number that's come in a little over 13,000 units. How has it done versus the ET Now poll? Well, for CV sale numbers, it's actually come in above expectations, as has the PV sale numbers. So all in all, I think it's an okayish number. However, the stock is among the top losers today in trade. It's down by more than 2%. More movers and shakers. And Kunal, let's talk about ACC. Your view here, why is it that you're flagging it off?
Many of the cement stocks, they went through a process of a big rise, I think in the month of March, April. Then, these stocks tempered off, came back to their key moving averages. ACC was one of them. Now, from, if I'm not wrong, from 1700 odd levels, the stock came back to levels of 1500 and sub, I think just a couple of weeks back. That was exactly the level of 200 moving average. Now the stock is bouncing off from those averages. So if you look at it on a larger context, there was a mean reversion process in play. The mean reversion is over, and now stock is likely to continue its uptrend. And there's a very minor resistance at this 1575, 1580 zone where the stock is trading. But I believe this resistance should be taken out. ACC could be a good buy at current level. 1615 is the near-term target for the stock price, and stop loss at 1550.
Okay, there you have it. That is the word coming in then on an ACC. It's a clear-cut buy from Kunal. And Soumya, of course, the big loser today is ICRA, the big newsmaker as well.
Well, yes, indeed. And in fact, this is one stock that's falling and is under pressure since morning after the board decided to place Naresh Thakkar, the MD and CEO of the company, on leave amid regulatory concerns, where there was an anonymous complaint against the company wherein it was alleged that there were lapses when ICRA assigned a high rating of AAA to the now defaulted ILNFS group. They've named CFO Vipul Agarwal as the interim chief operating officer, but the stock continues to remain under pressure, down by over 3.8%.
Okay, that is, of course, about ICRA. And yes, the stock continues to remain under pressure. It's interesting to know that CARE as well is falling in tandem. Hemain L&T, a nice up move seen over there, and that continues. It's beyond 1550. And, since the elections, we've seen that up move continue in this stock.
Yes, Mubina. I think infrastructure spending will occupy center stage. I have a hold, but this could very well be a buy, Mubina. The stock L&T has been moving in an ascending triangle on the daily chart. Technically speaking, we would need a close above 1575 for the upward breakout to come in. The bias is turning positive. The mechanical indicators are turning positive. So it's either a hold or a buy with a stop loss of 1520, target of 1590.
Okay, so that is the word on L&T, and yes, it's a clear-cut hold coming in. Moving on, talking about more auto sale numbers, Hero MotoCorp has delivered its numbers. Remember that two-wheelers were all in focus. However, Hero MotoCorp has done pretty okay. We have a 6.16 lakh unit figure that has come in for the June sale number, and this versus the ET Now poll of 6.4 lakh units. So yes, it's a bit of a miss, but we are not seeing much of a reaction on the stock. It's 1% down, and any which ways the expectation from these two-wheelers was not all that great anyway. And who knows, things may get tougher as monsoon, while of course in Mumbai it's raining cats and dogs, not so much so however in the interiors, and that certainly is a scary prospect. Kunal, auto stocks continue to remain in focus today. However, most of them are raising the gain seen yesterday. M&M however still steady.
It's a very interesting chart, Mubina, because the longer term time frame, especially over the last 3 to 4 years, there's this very strong and important trend line support for M&M, which comes back to levels of 630, 620 zone where the stock bounced off just a few months back. Now, what's more intriguing is that the last 4-5 days, you've seen a steady rise creeping into the stock price. There is a good formation of open interest built up as well into the fresh series of July expiry. And I believe that with this consistent buying, strong support on the weekly, monthly charts, and the decent price uptrend as well, there could be chance you might see the stock heading up higher even from current levels. So this should be a stable auto stock given its low beta nature. For a buy at current level, 688 is where I would place a target on the stock price, and stop loss could be kept at 640.
All right, that is the recommendation on M&M. Soumya, Cox and Kings, and the downgrades continue there.
Indeed, the downgrades are pouring in for Cox and Kings. In fact, they have yet again defaulted on another commercial paper to the extent of 50 crore out of the 65 crores. In fact, after this, CARE has revised the commercial paper rating to CARE D from CARE A positive, and in fact, not just CARE, Brickwork has also downgraded to D from A positive rating. In fact, earlier the company had defaulted close to around 150 crore rupees out of the 200 crore of the total obligation that they had, and as a result, we're seeing the stock continuing the downward trajectory and the downward momentum, even today down by over 5%.
Okay, that is a that is what Brickwork is saying about the commercial papers by Cox and Kings. Downgrades over there continue. Heymain, look at the way Yes Bank is declining. Of course, the Radius development news is something that's keeping it in focus. But yeah, on the technicals, what would you recommend?
Well, we remain in a downtrend, short term, medium term, long term. Well, yes, we are getting oversold. So, frankly speaking, it's a mixed bag. If you have a positional trade, one can hold with a stop loss of 98. If it's a very shorter term view, I think it's a sell on bounce, because unless and until we close above 115, I think it goes nowhere. So, yes, oversold, but no signs of reversal yet, Mobina.
No signs of reversal for this one, and yes, it continues to remain oversold. Okay, let's talk about then CESC. Of course, there was that power regulator news, but we have some important news from, brokerage note from Macquarie as well, where they are maintaining an outperform with a target at 881 rupees per share. They believe that the potential regulatory downside has already been factored into the numbers, and furthermore, they also say that it's best placed to capitalize on the distribution opportunity. Reasonable valuation with potential upside, and CESC was in fact gaining more than 1%, but now it's given up most of those gains. Kunal, DLF, what is it that you're observing here?
You know, the real estate stocks have been in focus. We've seen the price performance of, some of the non-F&O stocks like Sobha, Oberoi Realty, the ones which are highly liquid, Godrej Properties. Now, even DLF in that context has tried to, stage a decent performance in the last 1 to 2 weeks. I think from those levels of 170 to 175, it's been gradually moving up higher to 190 plus levels. There has been a steady accumulation of volumes, and the patterns of this consistent rise going in with the entire flow of sector performance as well, I think is auguring very well for the stock price. I believe even as a short-term play, you could see a target potential of 200 on the stock price. I would recommend a buy with stop loss at 185 on DLF.
Okay, that is the recommendation on DLF. And Soumya, DHFL, meantime, an important meeting today.
Well, yes, indeed. Yesterday, it was a meeting wherein the group of 7 lenders who have an exposure to DHFL met and have decided to sign intercreditor agreement on July 5th. They are also considering and discussing a resolution plan for DHFL. And for now, they have classified DHFL as special mention account. In fact, they are also considering debt to equity conversion, and they are looking to initiate a 30-day review and are looking to sign this intercreditor agreement on next meeting on July 5th.
Okay, that is the word coming in then on DHFL. We are going to be tracking that meeting very closely for you. Continuing with the countdown then, and Heymain, BEL, for the most part, I think the stock was not doing much, just between 110 to maybe 118 at the most. But yeah, do you believe there's much to read into this more than 1% uptick in the stock?
Well, frankly speaking, Mobina, we're in a consolidation phase. We had a move from 85 to 118. Now we're consolidating. It's moving sideways. Could take some more time before it gives a decisive breakout. The past history seems to suggest a positive move post this consolidation. So if it's a medium-term view, it's a hold. The breakout comes in at 116. If it's a short-term view, it's a sell, because it could take probably another 5-7 trading sessions before it does anything.
Okay, there you have it. That is the word on BEL. Adani Transmission, meantime, in fact, all the Adani Group stocks are gaining. We just had the news from the Supreme Court about Adani Power. But we are seeing that Adani Transmission is, in fact, at a more than 1 month high. A nice up move of almost 6% being witnessed on the stock at 237 rupees. And like I said, Adani Power, I think I want to pull up that stock as well. And you will see that that one too is gaining very, very smartly in trade on the back of that Supreme Court, news. So that too is in focus. Okay, well, moving on, and stock number 14 rather, Soumya, MOIL or MOIL, what's the news over there?
Well, this company has revised the prices of manganese ore and other products. Well, typically for manganese ore, they have risen the prices by over 5%, which is going to reflect fairly well as far as the top line is concerned. We are seeing the stock also gaining some amount of traction today, higher by over 1.3%.
Okay, look at CEAT, and that stock, of course, as well has a brokerage report. We will talk about that. Nomura has maintained a reduce with the target at 817 rupees. That has been cut from the earlier target of 980 rupees. They believe that expansion in competitive and capital-intensive segments could hurt the return on capital employed. And the stock is currently trading at 7.5 times the one-year forward EV EBITDA. They're also cutting the EV EBITDA to 6.5 versus 7 times earlier. CEAT declining more than 1% in trade. Okay, we'll do one thing. We will just take a very quick break right here on the show. Do come right back. We'll continue with the countdown of the big movers and shakers. This is Market Fatafat. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. Let's continue with the countdown of movers and shakers and M&M Finance. Soumya, what's the news over there? What's keeping that stock busy?
This one's coming after UBS have downgraded M&M Financial, even though they believe that among the NBFCs these are better placed. But the UBS sees that slowing rural demand and monsoon are key uncertainties that are surrounding the M&M Financial as a stock. In fact, a sharp price increase has been a sharp price increase due to Bharat Stage 6 transition, and they've also downgraded the price target to 400 rupees per share from 500, and they expect to AM growth to moderate at a CAGR of 13% over FY19 to 21. So it's not really great as far as the entire financial banking and NBFC space is concerned. They're preferring Shriram Transport over M&M Financial. However, the stock is marginally down by over 0.4%.
Okay, that is the recommendation then from UBS on M&M Finance. It's downgrade all the way to a sell from buy. So quite a heavy downgrade there. Okay, more movers and shakers, and Kunal, Tara, Alexi, once again back on your radar.
Mubina, I think the stock has made a very good comeback. At a time when the Nifty IT, the large cap ones, especially names like TCS, Infosys, they're struggling to really kickstart a new trend for it themselves. The mid-cap IT stocks have been doing pretty well. Now, Tata Elxsi in the last, I think, 1 to 2 weeks has risen by almost 10% and more. And what's more intriguing is that now the stock looks like challenging its 200-day moving average, which I think is placed at 960 plus levels. The stock is at 910, 920 range, and I believe even if you're a short-term trader, this mean reversion process could reward another 40 to 50 rupees upside on the stock price. So Tata Elxsi could be a decent short-term buy at current levels.
Okay, that's the recommendation then from Kunal, a strategy you could follow. Okay, take a look at Strides Pharma, and I want to pull up the intraday chart on this one. It's certainly fallen, and in fact, it's a sharp downtick that you are seeing, 5% down. This after Strides Puducherry plant has received a warning letter from the US FDA after the inspection that was done, and this certainly is scary news. One step and it will be an import alert for the stock. You are seeing that sharp downtick, rightly so, come by on Strides, and that as well does hence deserve inclusion on Market Fatafat. That's a big loser in trade. Hey man, on the other hand, we have Lemon Tree that is showing a nice up move since some time now. What would you make of this rise seen in the stock?
We're probably reversing the fall from 89 to 64, Mubina. I would have a hold stop loss 66. It seems to have posted a shorter term bottom. It's stabilizing in the medium term, but we need for it to close above the 55-day exponential moving average, which is currently at 70.89, for a further upside to unfold. So maybe a mild period of consolidation, but outlook is turning positive.
Okay, that is Lemon Tree Hotels. Today as well, it's higher by 0.7%. A nice upward momentum is what we've been seeing for the last couple of trading sessions. Continuing with the countdown then, and Soumya, what's the news on Sadbhav?
Well, Sadbhav Infra is selling their entire stake in 9 SPVs to InvIT backed by Canada Pension Plan Investment Board for an approximate value of 6,610 crore rupees. Well, this road portfolio includes 7 toll roads and 2 annuity roads, and these include in the states Gujarat, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Telangana. However, we're seeing the stock rising close to about 3% on the fact that they have completely sold out their 9 SPVs. And they'll be receiving funds for it.
Okay, that is Sadbhav Infra, and it's a nice uptick of 3% that we are seeing. Kunal, MCX, why do you have a buy on this one?
So again, a very interesting chart, a chart which I think which has potential of going into different phases of beta nature. So when the stock breaks out of its resistances, you see the stock accelerating almost significantly fast. And I believe that MCX could be in line for such a similar breakout. Now, especially on the weekly charts, there is an inverse head and shoulder pattern in the making. The stock is very close towards breaking that trend line. And what's more interesting is that how the stock pattern has shaped up in the last 2 months. Rise, then a consolidation, then rise yet again. So I believe that if this pattern completes for MCX, this could be a big breakout in the stock price. As a short-term play, 885 is the target which I would suggest, and stop loss at 825.
Okay, MCX is higher by 0.8% today in trade. Let's flag off more stocks. And Hemi, Exide, I think has been catching a lot of traders' attention for the last couple of trading sessions today. However, it's down 0.8%. Anything that's catching your eye here?
Once again, short-term bottom seems to have been made. The medium-term picture is improving, and some of the medium-term mechanical indicators like the MACD and stochastic movina are on the verge of giving a crossover buy. So I would be more positive than negative. It hasn't broken, but it's a hold with a potential for an upside.
Clear-cut hold then on Exide Industries. Moving on, Deepak Fertilizers, and the reason we want to flag this off is because all of these fertilizer stocks have been gaining for the last couple of sessions very, very smartly. Today as well, it continues to go higher, and remember, we do have the budget as well that is ahead of us. So let's see if there's anything substantial that comes out in the budget from any of these fertilizer companies. So that's something that we want to flag off. 113 rupees for Deepak Fertilizers. And Soumya, more June auto sale numbers. How was it for TVS Motors?
Even TVS came out with their numbers, auto sales number post-market hours yesterday. In fact, the street is particularly not really happy with the set of numbers that they've come out. The total sales stood at 2.97 lakh units, which were lower than the ETNA poll estimate of 3.1 lakh units. Apart from this, on a year-on-year basis, they were down by over 5%. So clearly a miss when it comes to the June auto sales numbers. As a result, the stock's also under pressure, down by over 2%.
Okay, there you have it. That is the word on TVS Motors. It's declining in trade, as is the rest of the auto pack as well. Kunal, SRF stock at an all-time high.
All-time high, and I think the stock just about keeps on going up and up. I think the volumes, the way the stock has shown stability, it was it was traditionally a very high beta stock, and when you see a high beta stock going into stable uptrend, I think it's a complete change of characteristic for the stock price trend. So I believe SRF should continue to move up higher as a trading as well as an investment play. I think such change of characteristics generally have long-term repercussions on the positive side for the stock price.
Okay, that is SRF 0.8% high. Yes, like Kunal flagged off, it is an all-time high for the stock. Hemant, interesting to note the volatility we are seeing in Godrej Properties. Yesterday it gained 10%, today it's lost 10%. What would you make of this, and how would you recommend traders go about such stocks?
Well, frankly speaking, it looks a bit dicey. NSE cash market volume, obviously this is gross, not delivery marking movina, is 30 lakhs by now, which is unusually high. So I would be cautious. I would suggest booking partial profit, because despite posting a fresh all-time high yesterday, it seems overbought. There's negative divergence by some of the mechanical indicators, and if such high volume generated at the highs, it might mean profit booking or stronger hands have sold. So I would say book partial profit.
Okay, overbought despite fresh all-time highs, and that is the word on Godrej Properties. HDFC Life, and this stock continues to go higher in trade. In fact, it surged for the 5th straight trading session. It's up 0.5% approximately. And not just that, you are also seeing the stock at 471 rupees. It's rallied almost 9% in the last 4 to 5 or trading sessions. So great move seen on HDFC Life. Graphics over there are incorrect. We will get to that just a bit. And we also have Eros International that we are flagging off. Stock continues to tumble. This after we have a couple of big names that have exited the counter, or perhaps at least trimmed down their stake, and those include Anand Rathi Global Financial, Adequate Stock, Reliance Financial, Avatar Investments, Venus India, AMCs. These are big, some of them are at least big names that have sold a decent quantum of shares in the counter. Eros International, however, is seeing an uptick of almost 5% as we speak. The volatility in the counter does continue. Well, with that, we are out of time on this edition of the show. So, Hemen, thanks for joining in and sharing your technical strategies. Kunal and Soumya, to you as well. Coming up next is Markets at Noon.